Thanks for tuning in. Today, we're going to look at one of the problems I hate. When making a sword, hand sanding the fuller has to be one of the things I dread the most. So I came across this old spring. Happened to be exactly the same diameter that I used to grind the fuller. I just needed a way to connect it to the drill. If you like these videos, let me know by subscribing and hitting that like button. We'll start off with this old spring. It just came out of the junk box. It happens to match the fuller size exactly, and all we need. I'm going to head over to the mill. You don't have to use a mill, you could just make this manually. But I'm going to face off a piece of steel from the scrap bin and drill a hole in it and then thread it so that I can screw a rod that we can connect to the drill. One of the things the milling machine really excels at is keeping everything aligned. So when I'm tapping, I know I'm going straight in. Helps quite a bit. Now I'll turn down the size to fit very snugly inside the spring so that it'll drive the spring through the drill. Once we've achieved a good snug fit, it's time to simply part off our plug. Before I got this thing turned off, I realized I wanted to round the corners just to make it a little easier to slide into the spring. Turn it around and face off the other side just so everything's nice and smooth. And now I've actually spent way too much time just making a little round cylinder to fit inside the spring. Probably a dozen easier ways to do this, but sometimes it's fun to just make a tool. I struggled a little bit getting it in. It was quite a tight fit, but there's nothing a hammer can't fix. I put the rod back in, and now I have my spring mounted on a rod I can put in the drill. I'm going to use some of this Rhino Wet sandpaper with a sticky back. I thought I'd be really smart and wrap it the entire length of the spring, forgetting that I needed the spring to bend to put force down into the groove. What this caused when I tried it is for the sandpaper to become all unraveled as the spring tried to bend. So I took off a bunch of the sandpaper so that it really was only one width wide, and that seemed to work a lot better. And now I have a lazy man's way of sanding fullers. Works pretty good. The nice thing is the spring bends instead of the wire. I find the wire gets really hot when you're sanding the fuller by making it bend as you put pressure down. This way the spring bends, it flexes nice, and it doesn't heat up that wire. Thanks for staying. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did like it, please smash that like button.